The Allure of Dracula, a love tale, 2025, to many women lies in its unapologetic shift from traditional horror to operatic, tragic Gothic romance, a genre that deeply resonates with fantasies of eternal love, consuming passion, and the sympathetic redemption of the dark prince archetype. Luc Besson's adaptation consciously builds upon the romantic elements introduced by Francis Ford Coppola's 1992 film, making the centuries-long devotion the absolute core of the narrative. 1. The power of the eternal, fated love, the reincarnation trope. The most potent romantic element is the reincarnation trope, which serves as the film's narrative engine. The plot explicitly outlines the story of Prince Vlad, Dracula, becoming a vampire after he renounces God upon the death of his beloved wife, Elisabeta. He spends the subsequent 400 years obsessively searching for her reincarnated soul, Mina, the genesis of the tormented hero, love and blasphemy. The film foregrounds the origin story, establishing Dracula's curse not as an act of pure evil, but as a consequence of catastrophic, all-consuming grief, instantly making him a sympathetic, tormented dark prince. The loss of Elisabeta. The film opens with a montage of the couple's passionate domestic life, highlighting their deep, fusional love before Vlad must leave for war. The pivotal tragic scene is the death of Elisabeta, who, in a futile attempt to flee to the prince in a snowy landscape, tragically loses her life, perhaps in an accident involving a wolf trap. The scene emphasizes Vlad's helplessness and rage. The curse of grief. Maddened by the loss, Vlad publicly renounces God and kills the priest, blaming his faith for the cruelty inflicted upon his beloved. This act transforms him into a vampire. His immortality is immediately established as a punishment, an eternal exile from his love, rather than a power fantasy. This tragic origin anchors his 400 years of solitude, making the audience understand and forgive his monstrous nature as a byproduct of a broken heart. Unconditional devotion. This storyline elevates Dracula's actions from predatory obsession to a destined, all-consuming commitment. For many viewers, the idea of someone literally waiting an eternity for their lost love is the ultimate proof of unconditional devotion, a romantic fantasy that transcends mundane, modern relationships. A love that defeats time and death. The concept that their love is so powerful it manages to defy the fundamental laws of the universe, death, time, and even the will of God, is incredibly compelling. The reunion is not accidental but fated, granting a sense of cosmic significance to their passion. In the eyes of this audience, Mina is not a new conquest, but the rightful return of a single, continuous soulmate. This also neatly sidesteps the issue of coercion or Stockholm syndrome, as the soul of the woman loves the man, regardless of his monstrous form. 2. The tortured dark prince archetype. The film's focus is on Dracula as a tragic, tormented antihero, rather than an animalistic monster. This aligns perfectly with the popular dark prince, or broken bad boy archetype prevalent in modern dark romance. Humanized monster. Luc Besson and actor Caleb Landry Jones create one of the most humanized Draculas ever depicted. His monstrosity is reframed as a tragic curse resulting from an act of profound grief and blasphemy. He is not inherently evil, but a man driven mad by loss, making his entire existence pivot on his search for love. Yearning as a character trait. Landry Jones's performance is frequently praised for embodying this deep, palpable yearning. Reviews highlight the emotional complexity he brings, portraying the character as both unsettling and deeply sentimental, capable of ugly crying scenes, and conveying love, hope, and disbelief through subtle facial changes. This portrayal allows the audience to feel sympathy for the vampire, viewing him as a man in pain who needs redemption, making him a complex figure of desire. The power of redemption. The finale, where Dracula chooses penance and obliteration just to set Mina's soul free from his curse, is a powerful moment of tragic redemption. He sacrifices his eternity for her humanity, cementing his status as the tragic hero who loved his wife more than his own cursed life. 3. The power of eternal, fated love, the reincarnation trope. The narrative's driving force is the reincarnation trope, where Mina is explicitly presented as the spiritual return of Elisabeta, creating a romance defined by destiny. The centuries-long quest. Dracula's motivation is purely to find his lost soulmate. A key innovation in Besson's version is Dracula's creation of a tempting perfume, using exotic materials gathered over centuries. While slightly farcical, this invention symbolizes his relentless, active search across continents for the woman whose essence matches his lost love, rather than just waiting in his castle. The moment of recognition, when he finally encounters Mina, who, like Elisabeta, is played by Bleu, the scene focuses intensely on Dracula's reaction. Caleb Landry Jones's performance is highlighted here, showcasing subtle changes in his expression, moving from fear that she wouldn't be there to disbelief, and finally, profound wonder and relief. This non-verbal communication of centuries of yearning instantly validates the connection, reinforcing the romantic fantasy that their love is fated and unstoppable. 4. Grandiose aesthetic and operatic style. Luc Besson's distinctive directorial style, often called cinéma du look, delivers a visual and auditory feast perfectly suited to Gothic romance. The film is described as operatic, campy, and unapologetically dramatic. Luc Besson's lavish style transforms the Gothic narrative into an operatic spectacle, appealing to an audience that loves heightened drama and visual decadence. The ballroom fair scene. The 19th century sequences in Paris and London are dressed with an air of decadent camp. The fantastical paranormal circus-like fair scene, or the visually sumptuous dance sequence, where Dracula and Mina finally connect, provide the visual splendor expected of Gothic fiction. This scene often includes a visual echo or flashback to a similar intimate dance between Vlad and Elisabeta in their private chamber 400 years prior, reinforcing the continuity of their bond despite the change in time and form. Atmosphere over action. While the film includes sword fights and action sequences, the memorable scenes are those steeped in mood and melancholy, such as Dracula mournfully inspecting his wife's crumbled bones in the castle before his rejuvenation, or the quiet, intense scenes with Mina. The entire production's rich visuals, costumes, and Danny Elfman's sweeping score ensure the emotion is felt on a grand, mythological scale. Visual spectacle, with its sumptuous cinematography, rich, colorful costumes, and grand set pieces alternating between misty Transylvanian castles and the opulence of Belle Epoque Paris, the film offers a high-glamour, escapist spectacle. This focus on mood, atmosphere, and a fantastical world is a major draw for audiences who appreciate a heightened, stylized cinematic experience. Danny Elfman's score. The film's musical canvas, crafted by Danny Elfman, adds to the sense of melancholic grandeur and emotional excess. Elfman's signature Gothic, dramatic style reinforces the tragic nature of the love story, ensuring that every emotion is felt on a colossal scale. 4. Centered narrative on the female relationship. The adaptation makes the relationship between Dracula and his wife, reincarnated lover, the singular focus, often pushing the traditional hero, Jonathan Harker, to the periphery. The Mina/Elisabeta focus. The plot's immediate investment is in the passionate domestic life of Vlad and Elisabeta, followed by Dracula's centuries-long quest, giving the female character and her importance to the Count unprecedented weight. Bypassing traditional heroes. By making Mina the indisputable reincarnation of his wife, the film eliminates any rooting interest in her relationship with her fiancé, Jonathan Harker. The audience is invited to support the destined connection, celebrating the reunion of the central pair rather than the efforts of the vampire hunters. This narrative choice caters directly to the audience segment that wants the Dark Prince to win the heart of the heroine. 5. The ultimate romantic redemption. The film offers a final act of devotion that fulfills the fantasy of the Dark Prince, choosing love over power, giving him a bittersweet path to redemption. The unifying sacrifice. The climax focuses not on an epic battle with Van Helsing, who is replaced by a priest played by Christoph Waltz, but on Dracula's personal choice. After finally reuniting with the love he waited 400 years for, Dracula recognizes that his immortal, cursed existence is threatening Mina's human soul. The penance. The ultimate act of romance is his decision to choose penance and obliteration, giving up his eternity so that Mina can be human and safe. This self-sacrificial ending ensures that Dracula is remembered as a man whose love was so strong, it literally led him to forsake the curse he inflicted upon himself, allowing him to be forgiven by God and promising an eternal reunion in heaven, the ultimate closure for a centuries-long tragedy. The final parallel of Mina mourning over Dracula's crumbled remains, mirroring Dracula mourning Elisabeta's bones, emotionally completes the tragic loop of their eternal romance. 6. Conclusium. In sum, Dracula, a love tale thrives by trading on the inherent romanticism embedded within the vampire myth. It provides an overdose of passion, tragedy, eternal yearning, and cinematic melodrama, offering a seductive, emotionally charged fantasy that proves irresistible to fans of Gothic romance. Hence, Dracula, a love tale shifts the focus from pure horror to a dark, passionate, and tragic love story, fulfilling a popular fantasy for fans of the Gothic romance genre.